In my opinion, the introduction is the most important part of any musical. It's supposed to set everything up. It's supposed to make you care. A strong musical number grabs our attention and helps us suspend our disbelief, understanding the rules of the universe we're stepping into. Disney historically has a tradition of doing this right. Think of the foreshadowing in Circle of Life in The Lion King or Bells of Notre Dame in Hunchback. Think of how Belle in Beauty and the Beast establishes Belle's character and conflict so perfectly.
I just finished the most wonderful story about a beanstalk and an ogre and
That's nice.
And how much less interesting would Hercules be if they just spoke the backstory instead of giving us the gospel truth?
What a story is
You
about.
listen to him? He's making this story sound like some Greek tragedy.
Meanwhile, with Wish's opening number, Welcome to Rosas, Disney tried. But they don't quite get it right. Let's get into it.
How does it work? Do you see the film first?
No.
No, okay.
Oh my god.
I'm going to start by talking about framing. The framing of a musical number is crucial. The framing of Welcome to Rosas is that Asha, our alleged hero, is giving a tour of the island. This is, to say the least, a contrived way to introduce our setting. Right before the song begins, Asha is out of breath and stammering. Our first impression of Asha is that she is indeed quirky and awkward. Adorkable, even. Sorry, that phrase made me gag a little bit. First impressions matter, and this first impression is one that tells me that Asha is more designed to be relatable than to be a character in a story. Compare this to the Family Madrigal, its most obvious predecessor. While Asha fumbles around like a buffoon, Mirabelle is very confident and ready to start the song and explain her family.
I'm only part of the amazing madrigals.
The song also has a somewhat functional rhyme scheme, but that's neither here nor there. Mirabelle comes off more immediately as a protagonist I would personally like to follow, because she seems like she has real goals and a personality. Even though she's been given a few more minutes of screen time by this point, Asha hasn't been established yet beyond being quirky. This doesn't really change throughout the movie though, so I suppose it's not false advertising. Let's get into the first verse. This is supposed to establish the setting we're in. The first line that sticks out to me is where the greatest creations are all on display.
This way, where the greatest creations are all on display.
I watched Wish, and I don't recall any focus on inventions or technology in Rosas. Nothing about art or any other type of creation either. I know this sounds like a nitpick, but we're establishing a setting here. Asha then goes on to explain how Rosas is a place where your dreams come true in a collection of completely inconsistent meters that force the singer to use weird holds and pauses to make it work.
Well, hey, you've come to the right place.
This line doesn't even lead into the following one.
There's no other place just as full of surprise where your dreams and your reality can collide.
Not to mention that surprise and collide doesn't work as a slant rhyme in a musical. It's trying to rhyme eyes with eyed, and those consonants are just too different to sound conducive to my ears. Slant rhymes like this are okay in pop music, but musical numbers are traditionally a lot stricter. Naturally, this pop songwriter gave us a catchy chorus instead of a refrain. The best word I could use to describe it is vague. In my video about this wish, I theorized that Julia Michaels was given very little context and time to write the songs. That's why the chorus here in Welcome to Rosas feels like it was written in one draft. The line no what ifs and no wonders doesn't even make sense. I've never heard somebody use the word wonders to mean wondering. I've only ever heard it used to describe something being amazing. So Asha basically said that Rosas has no amazing things, which, great advertising. The post-chorus rhymes us with Rosas. Okay, get ready for more lyric theory. This doesn't work for two reasons. First, the vowels are slightly different. It's a short A versus a short U. While these vowels are pretty similar, they're still distinct. I guess you could pronounce Rosas like roses, but it doesn't really work for the second reason, which is that the emphasis of the rhyme is off. Since the emphasis is on rose, it doesn't match up with a plain us. You'd have to find a word or phrase that rhymes both syllables of rosas, like owes us, if you want to stretch the pronunciation like the song does. The second verse finally gives us some context to the setting, but it's like a speed run. It's twice as long as the first verse in terms of line count, but still manages to rush through everything. It starts by mentioning that Magnifico built Rosas and has magic powers, which the movie's spoken introduction already established, so these lines add nothing and are useless to the audience.
We have this king named Magnifico, and he built Rosas many years ago, with eyes that can glow. No, I'm totally kidding, but he is powerful.
Okay, that's not even a slant. Glow and powerful straight up don't rhyme. It's similar to the us and Rosas rhyme, where the vowels kind of sound similar, but not really. Powerful is pronounced with the emphasis on the initial pow syllable. So to make this work, even as a slant, you need to pronounce it like powerful, which is not how we say that word. We put all the strength on the initial pow because that gives the word its weight. Oh, and one more thing.
He's just like us with a twist.
He's just like us with the twist is a 7-syllable line over 4/4 time, which means it's trying to fit 7 syllables over 8 beats. This can work, but in this case, it feels like Ariana DeBose had no direction on where to place the syllables, so she rushes through the first 4 and can't find a place for the last 3.
And hey, did I mention when you turn 18, you get to give your wish at a ceremony?
Yeah, we're still talking about rhymes. There's another problem with the attempted rhyme of 18 and ceremony. While 18 has its emphasis on the last syllable, ceremony has its emphasis on the initial and second to last syllable. The 2 words don't line up. 18 could rhyme with a single syllable word like scene, but ceremony can't. Ceremony is a pretty hard word to find a rhyme for in that regard. If you can take any lesson from this video, please let it be that if you can't find a good rhyme for a word, just choose a different word. In general, this verse is kind of lifeless. It's a very simple AABB rhyme scheme, no variation. The syllable counts of each line are all over the place, so you can never get comfortable with a rhythm. There's even a point where the singer cuts herself off to make a line fit.
Could be you someday on my Sabasipinos. Oh, I can't wait.
Most importantly, the spoken introduction of the movie already established that Magnifico can grant wishes, so this information is redundant. Yes, the characters she's speaking to in the context of the film don't know about this, but we do. Consider an earlier example. In Beauty and the Beast, the spoken intro is about the Beast. Belle is about, well, Belle. More importantly, it's about Belle's relationship to the village. That's the key thing that's missing from Welcome to Rosas. Because the context of Welcome to Rosas is Asha giving a tour, she can't interject with her personal feelings. This takes away so much from the introduction, because we're getting nothing about Asha, who's supposed to be the driving force of the story as its protagonist. The only personal thing she mentions is her hope for her Saba's wish to be granted, which, again, was already established by this point. Not only is there nothing to establish Asha as a character, there's nothing to establish the conflict. In Belle, the conflict is apparent. Belle says it herself, there must be more than this provincial life. She's tired of the same old thing every day. It also does a great job establishing who she is as a character. She's curious, intelligent, and doesn't care about how she's perceived by others. Another example is When Will My Life Begin? Similar to Belle, Rapunzel feels trapped in her routine and wants to see more. While When Will My Life Begin is definitely poppy and upbeat, there's a distinct sadness to it as it goes on. Rapunzel reads the same 3 books every day and she's almost out of room on her painting wall. She's bored and wants to leave. In Welcome to Rosas, there is no conflict. You could remove it from the movie completely and nothing would change. Welcome to Rosas feels incredibly forced. Like everything else in this movie, they understand that they needed to add a certain element, but they weren't quite sure why. They saw songs like Belle and Do You Want to Build a Snowman? Yes, Frozen kind of had 2 intro songs, and said, well, other Disney movies do that, so we should do it too. But what if the songwriter, understood the assignment better? If I were to rewrite this movie, I'd shift the conflict back so it's more immediate from the beginning. Maybe Asha notices how complacent and boring everyone is and wants something greater. That way, not only do we have a baseline for Asha to work from, but we also establish her as having, a personality. Values, even. Something we can instantly connect with and relate to. Then I'd change the song to actually be dynamic. Welcome to Rosas is a very static song. The first chorus sounds just like the last, with the exception of a couple instrumental flares. Musical numbers are meant to be dynamic. They build and soften to better express evolving emotions. They have stories. This song is just expository dialogue being forced into what I can charitably call verse. Julia Michaels may be a pop songwriter, but even she should know better than this. There are plenty of pop songs that are dynamic stories. Taylor Swift has dominated the world like that. Now, if it were up to me, I'd start the sequence similarly to Belle. Asha would walk through her city, narrating the things she's used to seeing. She'd start by pointing out the things she really does love. Maybe it's the sound and feeling of the ocean air, or the beautiful architecture, or the friendly people. Then she goes on to talk about Magnifico. Everyone around her says that Magnifico's the best, but there's something off about it, which Asha would comment on. She finds it concerning that nobody has any complaints about their king or about anything in general. They live the same routine every day and don't aspire to do anything more. Asha, being 17, hasn't given up her wish yet, so she still has a grand desire to do, something, pick a dream. She doesn't know the truth about Magnifico yet, so she asks why everyone is so half-hearted about life. The climax of the song would be Asha reaffirming her intention to live life to its fullest. Now we have a conflict and themes to work with. This sets up Wish to be about following your dreams and not accepting a complacent life. It sets up Asha to have a motivation that we could actually connect with. In the real movie, she's upset that not everyone's wishes can be granted, which makes her seem immature and selfish. If her goal was to break away and do something great with her life, we could have a protagonist with a real hook. We actually want to see her succeed and be interested in how her story unfolds. All of this can be set up by just the intro song, but instead of taking advantage, Wish passes up every opportunity to flesh out its world or protagonist. It feels like it doesn't understand at all what the point of a musical even is. Has Julia Michaels ever, watched a musical and thought about it? I genuinely don't think she has. Wish feels like a musical made by executives who think musicals just exist to shut up their kids. In reality, musicals are their own form of storytelling. They're not just a collection of songs interspersed through a paper-thin movie like in Sing. They're a way of communicating larger-than-life emotions. Could you imagine an action movie where the directors didn't think that action scenes were that important? This is the same thing. These songs aren't here to be turned into TikTok nightcore dance videos, they serve a fundamental purpose to a story, but that's not important to the powers that be anymore. For Moana 2, they're at least getting real musical writers, but I also jinxed Wish, so maybe I shouldn't say anything else. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, check out my channel, Aster Rhyme Master, for more Disney musical analysis. That's all for now. I hope you have a great day.